If I had a staff and arrest and subpoena authority, I promise you we'd get to the bottom of a lot of all this, but I don't. So the best I can do is sort of sketch it out and take the evidence that I do have and put the pieces together so people can see how the clock ticks. What
a scandal, isn't it? Truly a scandal.
It is, it is what we live with, and I wish we didn't, because you're talking about the stuff we learned when we were children. I really believe in this country, the ideals behind it and everything else. And for me to discover all this and is really shocking to me and saddening to me, but I don't think that being quiet about it is where the solution is. I think we need to raise this issue and confront it. And these people really want to take over this sort of control on it. I think they ought to be squared off with the people that they're trying to control until we get to some resolution of it.
Where you go next?
If not, it's an awfully dark future.
Well, that's true. Anonymous in Covington, Louisiana. Go ahead, Anonymous.
Hi. I got to tell you, I came in kind of late on the show, and you kind of hit a really raw nerve. I was born at Ochsner Hospital, and everything that could possibly be done wrong administratively during the process of me being born, could have gone wrong, went wrong. I almost died. My mother almost died. And the connection that I'm making here is that, coincidentally, my mother was an informant for the FBI who worked for Jack Ruby.
Okay.
And not to mention, now I live in Covington, which is where they test on animals, monkeys
the Delta
primarily.
Regional Primate Center, yes.
Right.
What did Mom say about Jack Ruby?
That he knew Lee Harvey Oswald. She was introduced to Lee Harvey by Jack Ruby, and this is not an unsubstantiated thing. It drove her crazy for the better part of her adult life, and a lot of times when I was younger, I thought she was just maybe a little bit more informed than she should be, and maybe she was a little touch crazy. But then I found the tapes. And she started taping her conversations with her handler.
Great. Wonderful.
So,
see, George, this is not unique. I mean, what this guy is coming forward with...
His tentacles go everywhere, don't they?
Yeah, but I have a lot of people bring me these sorts of stories and information all over the place about contacts with Oswald and everything else. I mean, what I write about is the tip of the iceberg, and these sort of stories are real, and they're all downstream from this, but they all have something to do with this because, I mean, we even know that Ruby was working for Richard Nixon back in the 40s. I mean, we got documents on that signed by people from Nixon's office. So we know there's a lot of this stuff, and it's been so buried that it's been hard to put together, but I really think this cancer project in New Orleans is at the heart of it. Jack Ruby himself said he was injected with cancer. I mean, he wrote that on a note and handed it to his prison guard. He died suddenly right when he was about to be moved and get another trial. They, of course, did not let Lee into a courtroom. Imagine what Lee would have said in a courtroom.
Well, especially when he said he was a patsy when they arrested him.
Right. But Lee stood in David Ferry's apartment next to Judy and helped Judy with these cancer projects. Lee was intimately involved in all this stuff and knew all the players and knew the upstream people.
In the Oliver Stone movie on JFK, was not Joe Pesci, didn't he play David Ferry?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. I mean, and he played it as a whacked-out guy.
Well, Ferry was kind of a whacked-out guy, but what I was really happy about to see that in that movie was Oliver included the mice and the cancer in there. In fact, I've got a tape of Oliver, it's on my website, drmarysmonkey.com, of Oliver talking about all this cancer stuff in the U.S. Public Health Service hospital and everything else, and Ferry's involvement, and he just says that's another movie for another time.
Absolutely. Take a couple more final calls here. We'll go to Tom in Sonoma County in California. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you for having me on again, George.
Sure.
Edward, thank you so much for the work you're doing.
You're welcome.
Quickly, after the haulers I just heard, Under Our Skin's the movie, and they documented very well the corruption at the NIH, and also the Union Concerned Scientists has the Integrity and Program in Science program, and they've been exposing the corruption of the FDA and the EPA. Researchers just came out saying how dangerous the radiation is from medical X-rays last week in the national news. I have it all on my blog, toxicreverend.blogspot. Anyways, my question for you was, might it help to try and simplify this for people where these shadow labs, as I think of them, from the shadow government, not the, you call them underground labs, they're not telling everyone how it really works. And in my mind, it's combinations within combinations where infectious agents can mix and multiply in their pathogenic impact. The toxic chemicals, when they mix, they multiply in their toxic impact. And also the radiation can affect the immune system. And then there's the epigenetic with the genetics. There's a difference there where they found a genetic twin had the same gene but didn't develop the illness because the switch was different in the epigenetics.
Yeah, and the switch is really what's going on in the cancer thing. I mean, it's the off switch that's not working. Well, first of all, I'm delighted to hear the work that you're doing, and the work of those organizations is very important and deserves more light than it's getting on it. If anyone wants to get the book tonight by phone, it's 1-800-556-2012, and I'm offering the book for under the Amazon price from my website, but every copy is signed, and that's Dr. Mary's Monkey, which you can get to through the Coast and Coast AM homepage. They've got a link on it right now, so that's probably the easiest thing for you to get to. George?
All right. Super, my friend. Thank you so much, Ed, for spending the 4 hours with us.
You're
Great
welcome.
work. Dr. Mary's Monkey. What an incredible story. For Dan Galante, Tom Danheiser, Lisa Lyon, Lex Lonehood, Sean Ladesseur, Tim Banal, Ross Mitchell, George Knapp, Ian Punnett, and Art Bell, I'm George Norrie, somewhere out there on Coast to Coast AM. We'll see you on our next edition. Until then, be safe.